Blended learning at Sinton Elementary, our story. Like most schools, we had desktops in our classroom, about 5 to 6 desktops per classroom. But in the last few years, we transitioned to COWS, computers on wheels, and we have 21 on our campus, one in every classroom. I can remember in the beginning that computers in the back of the classroom were rarely used until we got applications that we were required to use. Students were required to get a certain amount of time on these applications like iStation, Imagine Math, and we put the kids on there 15 minutes a day and rotate them through. But now with the COWS, the use of computers is limitless in our classrooms. Blended learning took on a whole new meaning when our district received the MIS grant. Very beginning of the MIS grant, our teachers visited some schools in Dallas. And when you visit other campuses, you really begin to see what is possible on your campus. And in Dallas, the schools they visited, kindergarten on up classrooms, and they had 5-year-olds in those classrooms who were able to track their learning. They knew their student expectations. They knew how to go to a location to get the materials they needed to help them with the SEs that they struggled with. And I think it really opened our teachers' eyes to recognizing that maybe our expectations for our students wasn't high enough, and also to realize that classrooms can be run with differentiation and students being able to work on different things all at the same time. Not very long after the UT visits to Dallas, the blended learning course at UTeach was offered, and all of our math teachers were required to take it. But we did have a few ELA and a couple of science teachers who also volunteered to join the course. And it was that course that just ignited a fire on our campus with differentiation and blended learning. And even our teachers who were a little bit hesitant about technology really began to embrace the knowledge that they were gaining. We had a couple of science teachers on our campus who were using blended learning, but it was really hard for our teachers to see beyond their content. And I think the UTeach course really opened their eyes to the possibilities. And our teachers, as they were embracing this new knowledge, they began to collaborate with each other and think about how these ideas could be used in different contents. Going one-to-one really changed how we presented information in our classroom. Initially, one-to-one basically meant we didn't need to make a trip down to the computer lab. Our teachers would use the required resources, put the kids on. Everybody was able to do it at the same time. They could calculate the time. I'm planning for 30 minutes of iStation. And if kids did get done early, well, we had a resource that we could put them on some type of a educational game. But through that UTeach course, we began to realize that there were lots of applications, some free, some cost, that we could utilize to help our students with the lessons that we were teaching. And it was when stations became the norm. The number of teachers now who are doing stations daily is almost 100%. Our teachers love being able to pull small group. They can pull those kids and provide that differentiated instruction in small group. We even have a few teachers who are differentiating within their stations. And the lesson planning has gone from, well, this is what we did last year, to, okay, how can we bring in blended stations? What can we do to engage these kids? And that's really what's happened. Our students are engaged and they are learning skills that are going to carry them into the future. Here are a few shots of blended learning on our campuses. Sometimes the blended learning is whole group, where they may be playing a Quizizz, a Quizlet, some type of a review game, or teacher giving instruction. And other times the blended learning is in stations where students are working independently or collaboratively on technology. The larger picture on this page shows a teacher doing small group instruction while her other students are working in stations. In the background of that picture, you see the interactive panel where the teacher is directing her stations she's got a timer and the location and activity that each student will be doing while they're in their station. Blended learning has taken on just a whole new life in the last year. Our students are doing hands-on activities, but they're also pulling that hands-on while they're on the computer. They're recognizing, particularly in our math classrooms, that when I'm doing an activity, I can pull those manipulatives out to help me understand while I'm I'm working on computer, the collaboration that happens and incorporating those hands-on with the blended it's amazing to watch. Goal and data tracking is kind of teacher specific. Some teachers, notebook paper, my goal for this activity, for this unit. As you see on this one, a student reflected their goal was a 90 or 100. They made a 93, and then they write their reflection about why they did it. And I think the interesting thing about goal tracking and seeing the change in students begin to recognize in certain programs that they have a completion. You're 75% complete, and they want to get to 100. They want to complete the program, so they're energized to try and finish the program, and they don't mind putting in extra time. We have students working at home even when they're not asked to work at home because they want to move forward in their education. Occasionally we have students, or some of our teachers do data tracking digitally using Google Sheets, and then whole class tracking is typically done on a wall. Students are so excited. You can see the little orange dots in that one picture. They're post assessments for that particular program, and their goal is to get an 80 or 100. So they're able to put that orange dot on there, and they're excited. They're also tracking the whole class's progress through the program, and the teachers put dots on a paper, and when the class gets there, then there's a celebration. So kids are excited about it. They're taking ownership of their learning through setting goals and tracking tools. Most of the time with our blended learning, our students are provided with a hyper slide or a hyperdoc, or one is being presented, or a slide is presented for station rotation. These hyperdocs typically have all the instruction within the slide itself. So when they click on one of the links on the first slide, it'll take them to another slide within that lesson. Some of the links will take them outside of the slide, and right now the majority of our instruction is being guided through hyperdoc. Our transition to remote learning was almost seamless because our students had been exposed to the programs Google Classroom, Seesaw. On the left, you see a teacher who's using her phone as a document camera to guide a lesson during her Zoom. And our students are loving doing Zooms. They engage with their classmates, are able to see each other, but they're also able to ask questions that'll help them through their lessons. This video was made as an assignment for the You Teach Advanced course last spring. As you can see, blended learning was being effectively used prior to the pandemic, and we need to make sure that our teachers go back to that style of instruction. Teachers have had to make many modifications in their classrooms to accommodate remote learners and the restrictions related to COVID-19. It is my goal to remind our teachers of where we were pre-COVID and be part of moving them even further with blended learning.